Welcome, you have reached Imperial Reviews, and today's recap will be Fight Night, a $1 Million Heist, Peacock original. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, let's get into it. So I'm a little late on recapping this series. They're up to, at the time of this video, they're up to episode 5. It launched about 3 weeks to date. The first 3 episodes was launched, and then it's been episode 4 and episode 5. So they have an awesome cast, and this reminds me of with Kevin Hart getting an EP, executive producer credit for this series. It reminds me of taking the blueprint from other people that was in position before him, that when they got on top, they were doing projects and start bringing other black actors and actresses on to get some work. And most notably remembered in the 80s and the 90s, Eddie Murphy did it. Some could say before my time, Richard Pryor during his time did it. So on and so on. And just Bill Cosby during his time did it as well. So they're just pushing the envelope forward, and it's giving good actors and actresses opportunity to get some work, get their face out there, and hopefully open up other opportunities. Let's go over the cast. So you got the cast of starring Kevin Hart, played as Gordon Williams, nicknamed Chicken Man. Taraji P. Henson, she plays as Vivian Thomas, which is Chicken Man's side girl. Don Cheadle plays as J.D. Hudson, which is a black detective, which was unheard of during that time. Samuel Jackson plays as Frank Moulton, which is this character is inspired by the drug kingpin Frank Lucas. Terrence Howard plays as Cadillac Richie, which is one of the goons for Frank Moulton. Cinque Malls plays as McKinley Mac Rogers. He's one of the lead heist villains. Then you have Miles Bullock plays as Willie Black, which is like the second person in the heist. Then you have from there, you have Lamar, which is the enforcer goon for Frank Moulton. Jalen Hall plays as Baby Ray. He's one of the heist members. Artrice Johnson plays as Faye Williams, which is Chicken Man's Gordon Williams' wife. David Banner plays as Missouri Slim. We know David Banner's from Missouri, so he's playing as one of the black mafia gangsters members, but he controls the Missouri area. You got Jeff Spruill, which his name is Romel. He is the person who introduces the heist to Mac, and then he fades out, so his name won't be tied to anything. Then you got Jason Warner Smith plays as Herbert T. Jenkins, which is the boss of J.D. Hudson. Then you have Anthony B. Jenkins, that's the son of Gordon Williams. You got Melvin Gregg, most notably from the hit series Snowfall, plays as Manboy. On here, his name is Andre. Atkins Esmond plays as Silky Brown. He's like the liaison from Frank Moulton to Atlanta, and that's who cooks Chicken Man up with Frank Moulton as being the host of Atlanta for the party. Then you have Ben Vandermeer, which his name is Detective Mason. Detective Mason is like the high-strung, racist cop and going hard on black people and stuff like that. So you got Detective Hudson, who doesn't favor him, of course. You got Teresa Celeste plays as Maxine. Terrence Terrell plays as Boone Davis. That's another one of the heist members. Icky Booker plays as Dexter Tex. Dexter Darden plays as Muhammad Ali. So let's speak to his character, where Dexter Darden I first seen him, he was on the remake of the show series on Peacock, Saved by the Bell. And in that series, he plays as one of the high school students. Lo and behold, he's really like at the time like 29, 30, but he looked at like a teenager. He played the role. A lot of actresses do that. So how does he do as Muhammad Ali? Well, I wouldn't put him up there with Will Smith, who played Ali in the movie. However, he held his own, like where he has the mannerisms, he talking loud and brass and everything like that, had the bravado. So he held his own. You know, he wasn't where you could say, man, he was the worst Muhammad Ali. Not in my opinion. But Dexter Darden, shout out for him for getting his chance. Chloe Bailey plays as Lena Mosley. She's another one that's part of the heist members that's like blending in with the women in the heist, but she's really on the other side. Clifton Powell plays as Mushmouth, which is another black mafia gangster from another town. Um, you got Raymond Dunbar plays as Uncle Willie, which is the uncle to Andre, who's Andre's part of. Like I said, Man Boy, he's part of the heist members as well. Ron Rico Lee plays as Senator Johnson, who, of course, is going to eventually be tied in where Frank Moulton is going to get some things passed through, so he get property and land and stuff like that in Atlanta. So that's pretty much it's a bunch of members. People pop up all through here, but that's pretty much the bulk of the cast through the first 5 episodes. So this is a decent episode. The setting is Chicken Man. He runs numbers. He got into it with the law with Detective Hudson years ago, where he looked at Detective Hudson as a coon and going against his own people. He got out of jail and tried to make good with his family, wife, and kids. He runs numbers. Meanwhile, also running numbers, he has a side girl and mess with a bunch of different women. Side girl is Vivian. So you get that right off the bat. Meanwhile, what's also happening on the other side, you have Muhammad Ali is coming off of his 3-year suspension where he refused to go into the military. His first fight back, a lot of people just remember that was Frazier, but his first fight back was Jerry Quarry, and the fight was held in Atlanta. So, you know, it was a hype around this fight. So Muhammad Ali's coming to Atlanta. People want to support the champ, so now you got the major players coming in. And so Frank Moulton is one of them. So you have, like I said, Silky Brown is like the liaison from, he's underneath Frank, but he's tied to Atlanta. So between Romel and Gordon Williams, which is Chicken Man, of course, they're trying to get the ear of Frank Moulton so they could be the host a big party where all the players come to. That's good for the town, make money from the town, plus their name get out there. So Chicken Man eventually get it. So instead of Romel just taking it, okay, the better man got the opportunity, Romel gets in his space where, well, now, basically we're gonna let Chicken Man be the fall guy. He gonna be the patsy for all this. We're gonna let him host the party wherever he host it. When they all come there, we're gonna rob this party. All of us gonna get $20,000 a piece, and we're gonna make off and get going. And then everybody will blame Chicken Man that he set it up. So that's the plan. Meanwhile, Romel tells Max the plan, and he told Mac, well, why me? Because Mac was hesitant at first, but Mac just got out of the military. Got some money, but not a lot. He looking for opportunity, so he decided to do it. And then, of course, Mac looked at Romel, well, why me? He was like, man, you deserve an opportunity to make more money. But Romel dipped off because he knew what type of people were coming to this party. So he don't want to be tied to it at all. So now you get, it's a 7-man crew. Andre, Mac, Black, which is Willie Black, Baby Ray, Tommy, Lena, and Boone. And so Lena and Boone has a tie to. I wasn't sure whether they were brother and sister or they worked at the same diner, and Lena kind of was like a big sister role to him or whatever. But Lena is one of the girls that's going to be in the party. She's really blending in with the girls that's at the party, but really they figure out right away that she's really in on the heist. So you got Chicken George, I said Chicken George, Chicken Man, who's trying to uh, get Frank Moulton's ear, basically telling him he want to work for Frank Moulton and get underneath him because he know he's making money. He knows everybody. By him running number, he knows everybody in the community. This is like the start of, this is basically showing like the start of Atlanta. So like people that's not from Atlanta, our view of Atlanta growing up is what we see, the glitz and glamour in Hollywood, California, or whatever. Down in Atlanta, it was the same way, but it was the same way for black people, where you go there, you see black dentists, black business owners, black doctors, and all that type of stuff, where most parts around the country, you don't always hear about that stuff or see it. It's for every black doctor, you're going to see tons of other races or whatever, but down there it's more common to see that. That's the theory and the thought that we always had. Like you, and it was always like Southern hospitality. Everybody tries to help each other. That's the culture that we always heard, those of us that wasn't from Atlanta coming there. So this is kind of like the start of that. Like this is building it up to that moment. So this is the setting of this is in the 70s. Frank comes down there pretty much. Chicken Man introduces it. Silky introduces Chicken Man. Basically, Chicken Man like, I'm your guy. Anything you need. And so, of course, Frank just brushing him off at first, but he wants to get into this. He sees this actress named Lona Falana, played by Lori Harvey. So he sees the actress, but she, of course, he has no introduction to her. So Chicken Man is good with people communicating. So he pretty much goes up to Lola and pretty much introduces himself and pretty much say, hey, I got somebody that really like to meet you, that's a fan of yours. Just give them some time. And she did it off the favor of, the charm of Chicken Man. And Lola Falana came and sat with Frank, introduced her. So that gave Frank some favor. Now, in between this, Chicken Man received he got pressed by a Miami goon that runs drugs to Atlanta, and pretty much saying this is my territory. And so he told Chicken Man pretty much, I want 50% of anything you make. Chicken Man like, what? So what happens is he tells Frank Moulton, he tells Frank's Cadillac, hey, this was going on, and they pretty much told him, you need to get next to Frankie and he'll protect you if you do. So once he did that move with Lola, Frank said, hey man, that situation you had with that guy, I'm gonna take care of that. So it shows him meeting with the guy, pretty much telling him, hey, this party is in honor of me, like off the strength of me, respect, fall back on him. So the guy pretty much indirectly threatened Frank, like, hey, you're a long way from New York. This is my territory. Don't nothing go on without me. But I respect you. That's what he kind of I respect you, so let me know if you pretty much I just drew a blank. Nevertheless, he squashed it. They went on. So the fight went on. They just showed different things with Hudson, which is the detective. He's been pretty pinched on the bench. He's the black detective. They gave him no real work. They gave him the assignment to protect Muhammad Ali while he's down in Atlanta. Make sure nothing happened to him. Make sure he gets on the plane. Have a safe travel while he's there. And he's out in a cabin somewhere. And of course, it shows different events they had. And it also showed how Muhammad Ali looked at him like a coon at first, but then they came a common ground and had to understand each other. And so Hudson, Detective Hudson's thing was to make sure Muhammad Ali get back safely. So that was his job, but he hasn't done overall work because he's black and they don't give them career defining moments. So night of the fight comes, all the major players is coming in, but Chicken Man finds out that Frank is looking for property and getting deeds passed. He can't, so he's looking to find somebody who can get him that information. So what Frank tries to do is you had the Senator Johnson there. So one of Frank's people he run numbers that get numbers off of him was there at the fight. He's a janitor, but he had a special pen that the Senator Johnson gave him. So he played like that guy was Senator Johnson's like right hand man, and he's very connected to him. So it almost worked. Senator Johnson came up. Of course, he knew the guy, greeted him, but Senator Johnson kept talking. And when he kept talking, he said, "Man, this man should be praised. He's the best janitor." And which, of course, now Frank and them looking at Chicken Man like, "You just try to play us. You said he was the man," or whatever. And so, but it did allow Frank to meet the senator, or whatever. So indirectly, it did work, but they got to see that Chicken Man was, saying whatever he's saying just to get next to him. So while this is going on, the party has started. Vivian is at the house where the party has started. They got a casino at the in the basement area. They was also building up. You meet Faye Williams, which is Chicken Man's wife. He pretty much telling his wife, "Listen, man, I gotta do this so I can make it good for our family. I just want to win." And so they in a church as well. It shows a scene where Chicken Man comes to church and the church people say he signed on to replace the roof of the church, and he looking like, "We did?" And the wife said, "Yeah, we did. You making money, ain't you?" That type situation. So nevertheless, at the party, they got casino at the in the basement, but they had people bringing in stuff all day, and two of the people was some goons, part of the heist. So the heistmen, the game is Andre is the stakeout man down the street, and the rest of the Lena is blending in with the girls, and the rest of the 5 people is in the house or whatever. So you got Tommy, Baby Ray, and Boom, Black and Mac. Black and Mac is pulling a gun on everybody. Tommy is collecting everybody's ID. Baby Ray is just there. But Baby Ray and Tommy is kind of like finicky or whatever. So Baby Ray got a backstory, lives with his mom. The landlord pretty much abuses his power with the mom and sleeps with the mom for her rent to be paid and beats up on Baby Ray. So he got that dilemma. Tommy is just like a pickpocketer. That's his skill set. So they got everything set. What happens is as soon as the party gets started, some people there, they come in with the guns, take some people down the basement. They leave some people upstairs and pretty much said, "We're going to keep the window open, and what y'all better do is just sit here and dance. And that way when people come up, they think the party's gone. They won't turn away. And they come in. And as they come in, we're going to rob them." So what's happening, all the major players is coming in one by one, and they getting robbed. And they asking like, "Do you know who we are?" They like, "We don't give a F who you are," or whatever. So that's what happens. Meanwhile, back at the fight, of course, Muhammad Ali won after the 3rd round. He wins. Now the game plan is to get Muhammad Ali home, get some home, or whatever. But in the course of take Muhammad Ali home, Hudson and Muhammad Ali start to bond. Hudson takes Muhammad Ali to his house. He sees the people, and he's trying to stick business, but you see how the people gravitate to Muhammad Ali. it makes Hudson look at it differently, the way he might perceive who Muhammad Ali is. And so what happens is he meets his wife. His wife makes him some food, and on the way back to take Muhammad Ali to the airport, they get stopped by the governor of Atlanta, pretty much saying, "Hey, I'm not looking for you to show back up in Atlanta again." And first, Hudson just told Muhammad Ali, "Stay in the car. I'm gonna handle this." And then he's like, "No." Basically, they're gonna have to greet both of us. So they pretty much told Muhammad Ali, like, "We don't want to see you back here again." And Hudson said, "Hey man, we don't want no problem. We just trying to pass through and get him to the airport." And then they let him go. And so Hudson got Muhammad Ali back to the airport, and that was that scene. Back now, it goes back to Chicken Man and Frank. Now they pull Chicken Man somewhere off in the woods somewhere where they had the guy from Miami, the Latino from Miami, that was talking slick to Frank. So they pretty much had them both sitting there and said, "Man, he was going to try to do something. He didn't respect me." So showed Frank kill the guy. Now Chicken Man thought he was going to get killed as well, but Chicken Man pretty much said, "Man, I've been just trying to get next to you the whole time, and I just want to show you, I just want to work for you, man." And so any other time he would probably kill a guy like Chicken Man, but Chicken Man, he pretty much kept him alive and pretty much said, "Okay, this, I see what Atlanta has some serious potential, and I need a guy down here pretty much like you, and since it's your town, take me to a spot." So Chicken Man thinking he already got the party in the background. "I'm gonna take you to the locals and give you at the party," but he don't know that's already Rob. Of course, cell phones or beepers and all that type of stuff wasn't in play back then. So nevertheless, he takes Frank there, and of course the robber hits him. Now Frank looking over at Chicken Man like, "You just set me up." So now they got Frank, and of course Frank say his stuff like, basically like, "Do you know who I am?" They already snuffed out that they know Lena has something to do with it. And so Frank kind of pushed the pressure on Chicken Man. You better find a way to get us out of here. So when the young guys, Baby Ray and Tommy, come down there, they pretty much telling them like, listen here, man. You need to know that he started naming the names of the people with the IDs. Tommy had the IDs. Look at who the names are. These are well-known gangsters like that you got here. The major players across the United States. You gonna have ain't nowhere you gonna be able to go. You gonna have some serious problems. You need to think of that. So then, of course, Tommy goes back and looks at the IDs and sees he wasn't lying. Like, nah, these are some real killers here. Like, who y'all got us robbing? How didn't y'all know? So now Mac is playing things in his head like, well, nah, like that's why Romel didn't want to do it, because he knew who we were robbing. So they pretty much thinking now we all in. We gotta stick with it and go with it. So we gotta see it through. So one thing leads to another, and at first they did a diversion where they grabbed one of the little young boys, and Lamar the enforcer, choked one of them out. One of the hostages got shot, and so when he got shot, they pretty much was like, "Hey," told him calm down, so don't nobody else get killed. And that everything start falling apart from there. So one of the hostages got shot, and I think the shoulder or something. Everything start falling apart. Eventually, what happens is when things start, somebody ran out basically saying, "Man, I'm getting out of here. I'm not down with this. I'm out." So when people start panicking and running out the house, the goons the heist members pretty much say, "All right, we got to get out of here." Now, when everybody got loose, Lamar the enforcer, Frank gave him the nod, "Go in." So one of the guy, Boone, who had a shotgun, he snatched the shotgun from him and blew him away. He died. So now they down to 6 members of the heist. Then from there, Vivian grabbed Lena. See, I knew you was in on it, but what happened is Lena had like a little a hair pick that was sharp as a knife, stabbed Vivian to get her off, and then she dipped off and ran off in the woods, and then they chased after her or whatever. So now everything, the chaos is happening. Everybody, Chicken George grabbed Vivian and one of his other side girls as well. But that girl, I forgot what her name was, but she was a I first noticed her from like an Instagram. She was like doing skits on Instagram. Shout out to her that she made it, to the big screen or whatever. Well, I can't think of what her name is, but you see her. She got an afro, um, and she the one that has the red Mustang. So nevertheless, she let Chicken Man borrow her car. Vivian is bleeding. He needs her to get patched up. Can't take her to the hospital because there was a big robbery. Things went down. They tied to her, questioning and everything like that. So he takes her to his wife. Pretty much say this is his business partner, and I need you to patch her up. Wife is like, where you been at? This is crazy. Nevertheless, the wife said, okay, I'll help her out. Meanwhile, of course, Vivian and the wife Faye has dialogue, and the wife said, I'm no dummy. I know it's more than a business relationship, and I know you and him messing around or whatever. So she didn't play games with her. She pretty much can't confess to the man, like, I know him or whatever. So nevertheless, she was prepared. The wife was prepared to leave him, but he's like, listen, just, I don't know what's what. Don't leave me right now. We got the kids. Just give me the opportunity to make this right or whatever. So meanwhile, Frank is looking for Chicken Man. He thinks Frank was part of it. So the enforcer, they finally grabbed Lena. They found her in the woods, beat her up some. She wouldn't give up no tape. So Frank was like, I just want to know was Chicken Man part of it. And it just faded out, and he blew her head off or whatever. Meanwhile, what happens with Hudson, Detective Hudson, he's pissed that this governor approached him when he was taking Muhammad Ali to the airport. So when he talked to his boss, he was blacking out on his boss, and his boss was like, listen, I get you, but that's just how things are. But it's time for you to do some real work. There was a party or something over in this town, and basically you're the lead over there. This is your opportunity for the big leagues. So of course Hudson is on duty. He goes around trying to figure everything out. They're casing, and this is kind of a funny moment when they're speaking to all the hostages. He sees that Boone was shot. Then they mess around. They find Lena or whatever. So they trying to pit all connected dots. So they eventually get to Tommy. Now they're at Lena's like funeral or her wake, like afterwards, and Chicken Man is there showing his respect. He's trying to get to talk to Tommy, but the mom is there. And so what happens is it shows the Hudson come there wanting to speak with Tommy, and Chicken Man, remember Hudson was like, nah, he seen Hudson at the party too or whatever. I mean, at the fight, and he pretty much said, I ain't gonna let you do to this young black man what you did to me years ago. But he was really setting Tommy up for Frank and him. So he called Silk, telling Silky, listen, I need y'all to come over here. Tommy's here. He's one of the heistmen. Y'all need to come here. And so, but Hudson was already there. So Hudson took Tommy into custody. Chicken Man couldn't do anything pretty much. He had a lawyer. They took him downtown too, but he ended up getting loose with his lawyer or whatever. Basically, they could hold him as an accomplice. And so when they did that, Hudson's talking to Tommy like, listen, man, you need to come clean and everything like that. Give us some names. Just tell us what happened. He left Tommy in. Tommy always been pressured. So Boone got shot. Lena's killed. And now he's in the interrogation room. They left him in the interrogation room. He was already weak. Now the mom already felt some type way about Detective Hudson with her son before he took him. Now her son is in the interrogation room. Right now it looks like he killed himself. that's what we're gonna go with. It could show up a couple episodes later. He really didn't kill himself. Somebody else did it. But nevertheless, he killed himself. Now, Detective Hudson had to call his mom and tell her what happened. So of course she's snapping. She's upset. So right then and there, that's 3 members out of the original 7 that's dead at this moment. So back at where they got the money, and before they did all this, they counted the money. They totaled that it was a little under $1 million between Jews and cash and all that they had. So they had to wait for, I think they was waiting for Romel to finally come back in the fold so they can all divvy the money. But they only was supposed to get $20,000 apiece. But now, of course, they making out way more than that. So Andre, he took a piece of the jewelry and took it to his uncle that runs a car shop. And he went to his uncle and showed his uncle the piece of jewelry. The uncle looking at him like, yo, you better take that jewelry and better not try to pawn that jewelry nowhere around here, because that jewelry, that's connected to some serious stuff and you could be dead. And he told him, his nephew, don't be hard here. So what the nephew goes and does, he sees his girl like, I don't, they're having a little back and forth. She know I'm your side girl and don't think I don't know. So he gave her some jewelry to be like, yo, just chill. I got you. So Andre's under pressure or whatever. So now Frank is now surfacing everywhere, trying to connect the dots and who's part of what. So Andre on his part, he goes to Mac. Look, I'll just give me my 20,000. I don't got time to wait. I'm getting out of town. And if I was you, I'd get out of town too, because we hit up some major players. So they had a little back and forth, but then Mac gave him the money to step off. Meanwhile, you got Willie Black. He took Baby Ray because Baby Ray came back kind of beat up. He like, oh no, we're going to go handle that. So they went and handled that. They went and beat up the landlord and let Billy Ray kick him and stuff like that. Now, Billy Ray plays by the kid he played as, on the show All American. He played as Spencer's little brother. Nevertheless, back to the fight night series. They beat up the guy, and then Willie Black shoots the landlord. So he reckless. He just doing anything. And as far as it goes with him, with that scene. Now with Chicken Man and Hudson, they befriend each other, working together to find out who's the henchman. So Chicken Man is trying to clear his name with Frank. Meanwhile, trying to find these heistmen like, yo, y'all need to declare his name because Frank thinks that he was in on it. So it was a moment where Chicken Man was speaking to Silky, telling him he didn't do it and what happened, because they said they went to the house, Tommy wasn't there. He said, yeah, well, the cop took him and everything like that. So what they end up doing, they killed Silky. So now Chicken Man is really scared, like, oh man. So what they do is Vivian ends up go back to the house. They went back to the house, and the henchmen, like the Black Mafia gangsters, they pretty much sat on the house waiting to see if somebody come. Now, what's also happening within the Black Mafia gangsters, Frank is in control, of course, because he got the product. But he belittles everybody, thinking instead of we're partners, he has it set with everybody that he's superior but above everybody. Y'all all work for me, not as partners. So he belittling people. And Cadillac, played by Terrence Howard, is telling him, hey man, you shouldn't move like that. Like, basically these are still men. You gotta treat them as your equal or whatever, whether you the top person or not. And Frank pretty much said, the difference between you and your dad is your dad knew his position. He wouldn't dare say nothing like this or whatever. So now you see some turmoil happening with that, and then you see a little back and forth with the other Black Mafia gangsters, the headmen, but then they kind of still bow down and giving Frank still the respect at this moment. So eventually Frank comes in, speaks to Vivian, pretty much tells Vivian, like, hey, he was really willing to, meaning Chicken Man was willing to sacrifice his life for you and get shot for your dignity, because they wanted, Vivian used to be like a call girl back in the day, and they wanted her to show her stuff in front of everybody, dance or whatever. Willie Black did. So, nevertheless, he pretty much said, she was saying, still trying to protect Chicken Man, said he's going. And he said, no, not if he has a reason to come here. He'll come for you. So eventually she speaks to Chicken Man, and he heads back to the house. But before that, they ran into Andre, they figured out that Andre went to the uncle. Uncle didn't want to give up Tate, but it was somebody else there that worked with the uncle that didn't care for Andre and gave up Tate, gave up information, so they knew where to go to find Andre. But by the time they got there, the enforcer Lamar had already talked to Andre's girl, who also, he gave her some money and basically said, you earned this for giving up money. He gave her some money. She gave up Tate where Andre lives. So now you got Chicken Man and Hudson showing up to talk to Andre. Then enforcer shows up, and with the two goons, thing one and thing two, and they get in a shootout. Andre kills one of them, and then they get in a shootout. Eventually what happens, Andre starts to run. They shoot him in the back. Chicken Man sees him, and Andre was like, man, you better get out of here. He dies. Hudson shows up. Hudson tells Chicken Man, hey man, you need to get out of here. I know what to say with the police or whatever. So it shows Hudson's is turned to be more for his people or whatever, you know what I'm saying, and still try to do his job. And meanwhile, what happens is, because the case is getting blown up, the other guy who Hudson didn't like, they kind of letting him take over the case and telling Hudson he's suspended, give his badge. So Hudson's boss pretty much told him he's suspended, give me your badge and gun. The other guy's going to take over. So that's where we leave off in episode 5. Ended with pretty much Chicken Man showing up back at the house, and Frank and them is at the house when he walks in. And so that's the end of episode 5. So that was a good recap of everything, the first 5 episodes. I'll be recapping episodes 6, 7, and 8 individually. But till next time, subscribe to the channel, like the video.